Welcome back to City Focus. We have Lieutenant Adam Benbury from the Valdosta Police Department joining us here to give us some safety tips for the holidays. Welcome, Lieutenant.
Thank you, Marcus. Appreciate you calling me out today.
With the holidays coming up, is this a time that crime increases across the city?
Traditionally, our thefts tend to go up. As most citizens notice, we almost always have the mobile command vehicle out parked by the mall area, and that's usually manned 18 to 20 hours a day. We have 30-foot camera pole. We have officers patrolling those parking lots very routinely, keeping up the presence in the area. We'll have some shopliftings, and then we'll have also thefts from cars, which again, I think you and I were talking about earlier. You want to make sure you take your property out of your car while you're doing Christmas shopping. Secure it in your trunk. Keep it out of plain sight. Make sure to lock your cars, but also, again, just you don't want to have your car be a target, even if a bag only contains books and just a few shirts or some gym clothes. Again, a thief looking in doesn't know what's in it, and he thinks there's buried treasure, so of course he's going to break into your vehicle to steal it.
Okay. Now, and we'll talk more about what we should do in public, but for those that are traveling during the holidays, are there any tips that you can give to keep our homes safe while we're away?
Absolutely. Main thing again is just communicate with your neighbors. Be sure to communicate with the police. We still do extra patrols. We take them in all the time. You can call the front desk clerk. That's 229-242-2606. Call in, let her know that you would request an extra patrol. Communicating with your neighbors, let people know when you're going to be out of town. Obviously, if you trust them. We encourage you always to leave lights on, outside, inside. You don't want criminals to know when you're home and when you're not. You kind of want them to be a little bit confused. If you haven't invested in an alarm system, that's always an option. But again, main thing is neighbors keeping an eye on each other is probably still even with all the technology advances over the last several years, again, having neighbors that will look in and say, hey, they're out of town in Michigan and I see a car in the driveway. That is something we absolutely need to be aware of immediately. We'll send a car over as soon as we can get one available.
Okay. And to back to like what we're doing out in public, we'll all be shopping and
Correct.
We'll all be in crowded areas, parking lots.
Right.
Are there things that we should kind of be looking out for if we notice something? What are things we should pay attention to keep ourselves safe?
Well, again, even just on a normal daily basis, and I have a lot of people that ask me this. Some of my older residents, I have single mothers out with children. Same thing. Just be aware of your surroundings. Again, if you know the normal people that are out shopping, doing their normal daily routine. Again, if you see people that are hanging out in a place and just observing cars, observing when people are leaving their vehicles, again, those are things you need to be aware of. If somebody is openly looking in cars, you see them up there trying the door handles, you call 911 immediately. Again, that's somebody that's most likely looking to steal something. Being aware of your surroundings, these are normal tips that I would say just use year round. But definitely be aware of your surroundings, aware of who's around you, and just again, just normal awareness. People get very busy, they're checking their cell phone, they're looking at the recent purchases, and again, they just kind of are oblivious to this. But again, criminals prey on this time of the year.
Okay. And what other tips, other than keeping our doors locked, would you say about keeping things, in your car? Would you say don't leave anything in your car, put it in the trunk, or what's the best things to do for us?
And again, as we suggested earlier, again, locking the stuff in the car. I know some people have had very good success, carrying a large blanket and putting stuff down on the floorboard and putting a blanket over it. But again, bags, GPS units, anything that's electronic, get those out of the car, put them in the trunk, keep them covered up. But the other thing is, again, when you're doing Christmas shopping, make a trip home. And don't load up the car with valuables. Get those home and get them secured. Again, you don't want to make it easy for them. And again, we will have some thefts. I mean, it happens every year. We will do the best we can to collect evidence on them, look at surveillance, and get them arrested and get them prosecuted. Because again, it's the local economy is vital to the area, and we're not going to put up with it.
Okay. And are there some tips? I know we talked about earlier not leaving boxes out in front of your
Correct.
home. Are there some other things we definitely should avoid during Christmas?
Yes, and again, this goes back to our in our residential areas with our burglaries. A bad habit that residents have, we've put the word out several times now over the years, anytime you get that new electronic item, which tend to be our most commonly stolen items in a burglary, big screen TVs, game systems, stereos, those items of course come in nice big box with a nice big pretty photo on it. Of course, everybody wants to put it out by their trash bin for trash pickup. The only thing that does is advertise to any potential criminal, hey, this is what I've got in my house, big 50-inch TV, and almost always those two will coincide. The house will get broken into 1 or 2 days later, and then you'll end up going back and say, hey, we just got this. We just put the box out by the curb. I mean, it follows night and day. So anything that you get a box in, break that box down, put it in a garbage bag, put it in your garbage bin. Do not let it out by the side of the road. All it is a big advertisement to what you've got in your house now.
Is there anything else we need to know to keep ourselves safe, keep our belongings safe during this time of year?
Again, just the things we went over, again, just trying to be aware of what's around. If you see suspicious activity, call the police department immediately. We will have extra units on in the area during these seasons. We always do. We'll have people out doing residential, doing what we call just burglary patrol. People that will stay in the residential areas pretty much an entire shift, trying to keep that presence up in the area. But again, when you're out and about, keep your awareness about you. I know people are hauling boxes in and you're trying to get your kids in the car and all that. But again, keeping your eyes moving, anybody that's looking for a potential victim is going to notice somebody that's constantly looking around over their shoulder. Somebody that's going to be self-involved, looking in the phone and all that, that's usually going to be somebody they would prey upon. Okay.
Well, Lieutenant, thank you for joining us.
Sure.
Appreciate you giving all those tips for us. Hopefully we can stay as safe as possible this holiday season.
I'm looking forward to it, so hopefully we will. Appreciate you calling me in, Marcus.
And we'll be back here on City Focus.